Well, here we are finally. Greg had a hard time getting in this time, but we got it going. So here we are, chapter 28, DC Alliance podcast. I am the Bat Daddy 52, as always, with my co-host Travis. How you doing, buddy?
Doing okay, Greg. Little worn out, we'll say, worn down. It's finals week. Well, Thursday it'll be finals week for me. Just finishing up some assignments and final term projects. That's what I was at today. Finishing up a couple assignments so I could do this without having to be like, oh my god, I got to get those submitted.
Yeah.
So that's out of the way. Just basically, this is my last night to relax before the 17th, and Katie will be filling in for me from Star Wars Alliance and Slice of Film next week, which is big thanks, Katie. I owe you one for that.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be fun talking to her today. We're gonna figure something out.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Just normal Monday for me. Went to work, got off, ready to do some DC Alliance podcasting. A lot of news came out last week. Some big stuff. It's gonna be really fun to talk about.
Yeah, thanks for the thumbnail there, Snell. We'll get into my thoughts on the guy to the right there a little bit.
I haven't looked at it yet.
It's no, I love his films. I just think he's being a bit of a pretentious knob with this film. So we'll get into that later. But I think you should plug the network first before we get into anything.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
We are part of the Geek Golden Alliance Network, where you can find a bevy of shows 7 days a week. We are pumping a lot out there, tons of content. We have World's Finest True Believers on Mondays. Tuesdays, you can get DC Alliance podcast here with me and Travis. Wednesdays is Marvel Alliance podcast with Chris and Travis. Thursdays, you can find Katie with Star Wars Alliance podcast, also joined by Nathan. Fridays, you can see Super Civil Servants podcast live Friday nights, or superhero discussions on Friday mornings. I don't know what I was thinking about. And then Saturdays, you can also do, what is it? It's Ranger Alliance podcast alternating with Star Wars, right? On Thursdays. I never get this part right.
Ding, ding.
See,
you'll get it there. It's not like this is the first week.
That's why I skipped the days. That's why
it's the first week we've had this, so we won't judge you for this at all.
I hear you. But yeah, so anyway, then we have Weird Science, DC and Marvel comics on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays, and Slice of Film drops. What is it? Bi-weekly?
Yeah.
What's the day it drops now?
Thursdays.
Okay.
Star Wars Alliance is Sundays, Greg, with Mandalorian. You're on that show. Like, what's going on?
I know they recorded live, but I didn't know if the audio dropped on.
Am I being punked here? Like, I think the audio dropped on Monday, but am I being punked here? Like, what's going on?
I just listen to podcast. I'm just on podcast and listen to it, man.
I watched
people tell me where to be
Sunday, and you were at it.
This Sunday?
No, last Sunday, and you were at it.
I was about to say.
No, last Sunday, and you were at it.
Okay.
And I'm like, come on.
Well, like I said, I knew they recorded Sunday morning.
I'm just giving you a bit of crap.
I know. Anyway,
all good love.
I think that's all the shows, though, right?
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah,
you're there.
And we got the Patreon account as well. We got a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier helps keep the lights on, and the $5 tier, you get ad-free episodes, early episodes, and some Patreon exclusive episodes. So check that out. We appreciate everybody who supports the network, and away we go, right?
Yeah, just hit the ground running. Good job there. You even took over the patron thing. Perfect. Didn't have to say anything. I love it. Keep it up, Greg. Keep it up. But listeners, we're going to jump right into this, and we're going to talk about a topic that is kind of important to me, or it kind of piqued my interest big time, and it was like right the day after we finished recording. I'm pretty sure our last episode, or a couple days after, and it's that David Ramsey is to direct and return as John Diggle and mystery character in the CW's Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg, this was like, I know it's not Arrow, but I mean, it's the next best thing. Diggle was awesome. Diggle was Diggle.
Diggle was awesome. Now, like I said, I just don't.
And a fan favorite.
Definitely a fan favorite, man. I loved his character. He did the role really well. I would love to see him in something. And I mean, look, it's like a 99.9% chance that it's Green Lantern, but
well,
they haven't come out and said it.
let me rephrase. Let me read this now. David Ramsey will be busy both behind and in front of the camera for the CW. Ramsey, who's recently starred in Arrow as John Diggle Spartan, will return to direct 5 episodes of DC Universe, including the new Superman and Lois, Supergirl. Additionally, uh, Ramsey will guest star in 5 episodes across the Arrowverse, returning as fan favorite John Diggle in Superman and Lois, Supergirl, The Flash, and Batwoman, along with a mystery role in the DC uh, Legends of Tomorrow that is being kept under wraps. See, uh, I'm not sure if there's other shows as well besides Superman, Lois, and Supergirl. I assume that there is. I assume it's like all 5 shows. Maybe he's going to do one a show, but maybe he's
Mhm.
only going to do a couple for each. Or that news could already be out. But that's very interesting to me because he made his directorial debut in Arrow in 2018 and directed a second episode in the final season. I want to say it was the Groundhog Day episode
Mhm.
with Stephen Amell basically got to come to terms with the fact that he can't uh, change his fate, which I don't really like that whole premise. You can't change your fate. What's the point in keeping fighting if you're a hero? But this just stuff is really interesting to me, Greg. Especially, I know he loved to direct, and he was in the WB like directors program, like Katie Latz was as well. And I want to say maybe even Katie Cassidy too. I'm pretty sure. Like all these people that get direct on these shows, uh, that's a part of it there. So I'm super interested because, like I said, the last time we left him, he was ringing out. So, I mean, or well, opening up the box with the ring. So, I mean, if he comes back, I
Something glowing.
this is what I wanted. Like, this is what I
Yeah.
basically said was for him. Like, wanted him to like guest star across different episodes of different shows,
Mhm.
bringing people together for a bigger threat or something. Uh, and I just don't know. They will burn the last bridge that I have if they bring him on there
Mhm.
and basically pretend like the last scene from Arrow never happened. Like I need explanation from that. I need something from that. So
You have to explain. I can't remember the last thing. I remember seeing him open the box, looking down, something green glowing.
it crashed from space. Like I
Yeah.
mean, like they did everything but put the ring on him. And
So you basically want the reason why it crashed in space.
no, I want to know like I want to see like if he's in an episode. Let's say he shows up in Flash and he's
Mhm.
asked something and he talks about that. I want to see him. I want to see that addressed.
I got you. You don't want him to just be there and Green Lantern and never say anything about that. Basically, I got you.
No, I want him to at least mention something or like anything about it. And I also find it interesting. Like we're not getting any news yet about Hal Jordan and John Stewart buddy cop or team up movie or anything like that. We got news about Mark Guggenheim and Greg Berlanti's Green Lantern show, but that show does not contain John Stewart. So
Mhm.
I'm very curious to see if this has been planned for a while, or maybe this came from some of the negative PR or negative momentum, I guess, or downswell for the CW's post uh, Crisis on Infinite Earths. I don't know. I'm very curious if this was planned ahead or if this was something that was made last like year. So really curious about that. But uh, they seem to be a big fan of David Ramsey, both on the screen and off. And
Yeah.
if he wasn't going to be in the Green Lantern show, I'm glad. Like I want him to actually show up as Green Lantern for even if it's one episode or two. Like just like he deserves it after being in the role for so long. And they talked to him about this possibility since season 2. Greg Berlanti talked to him about that. So I mean, it would definitely be path, and I don't think it would hurt a Hal Jordan, John Stewart Green Lantern movie in the future. I
No,
don't think
not
that's
at
going to hurt
all.
that. No,
Well,
I think that's only going to help the GCCW show. Sorry, Greg, go on.
no, you're good. I was gonna say the only thing it would hurt with that, I would think, would be if people fell in love with him as a character, and it's one of those situations where if I see him on screen, I want to see this guy like Charlie Cox or,
I don't think that works the way with DC because like uh,
I don't know
Grant
who.
Gustin is the Flash,
Mhm.
and I'm going to be honest with you, Greg. I think more than anything, he brought new fans to the Flash, new people to the character, and I didn't necessarily hear any people say like Ezra's not Barry Allen, but I think that may have had something to do with the uh, crossover when he actually showed up. I think
That's
that
true.
kind of leveled everything to the point where they're not going to be like, I like they could say I like this Flash better than this Flash, but they're never going to say like I don't want this Flash to exist because I got this other Flash that's been here for
Right.
7 seasons, right?
Right. Yeah,
So
and I don't think it will. I meant more like on the level like an Arrow. Like you're a huge Arrow fan. Like how wouldn't you love for Steven to see what Stephen Amell could do in that role on the big screen, or would you
nope.
love to see? No, you wouldn't love
I'd
that. Okay.
rather a new Green Arrow in the
Okay.
DCEU, like Snyder EU, or the new like
Hmm.
DCEU,
Yeah.
and I would still like to get him come back for the shows. And if there was ever a Crisis on Infinite Earths in the movie style, I would love to see him on the big screen. Not saying I don't ever want to see him on the big screen.
Right.
I'm just saying that I would completely be open to a new role.
A new interpretation.
And I wouldn't say like that's not Stephen Amell, I'm not watching. I'd be like, oh, cool, refreshing take on the character, different take. Ooh, that's what drew me in the first place.
I
Oh,
hear you.
okay,
I
yeah,
hear you.
sure. But
Well, and
nah,
like I said,
that's not a sentiment that's shared by a big load of people.
exactly.
But I think
Exactly.
that that's the way it should be because
Oh yeah.
regardless of how, like, let's say I completely hate the DCEU Green Arrow that ends up showing up. Let's say I can't stand him, don't like anything about him. Guess what? There are 8 seasons of a show that I love that I
Hmm.
can go back and watch that I have on DVDs and on streaming. That I can go back and watch and be like, oh, there's a Green Arrow that I love. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, look, they can have that Green Arrow over there. And if they're happy with it, fine and dandy. I'm still happy with this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's you know, I mean, and when I brought that up, I don't think that would be a problem. I think the only people it would be a problem with are the people like you were saying. There's always that group of people that are going to whine about, well, that's not my whatever, so I'm not going to watch this, even though they do end up going and
they
watching it.
hate watch it, Greg. They
Just
watch it so they
yeah,
can complain about it.
exactly. So they still end up going and seeing it, but
Do that. They do that with this like universe. I see
mhm.
it so much. Like
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of
oh
it
yeah.
from Snyder fans. Like I'm a huge Snyder fan, but I'm also
Mhm.
I would not as much a huge. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I'm not a huge DCCW fan anymore.
Mm.
I'm a fan of DCCW, but like my favorite show and my second favorite show has been like running on fumes last couple of years, and so I'm just like there's a series of events that made me kind of not love it. But like I said, I can always go back and revisit what I do love and what made me fall in love with the shows to begin with. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just happy that Dave Ramsey's getting this shot. And I want to talk about this first because I just think it's great. And I can't wait to see. I don't want to build it up too much for me like I did with Crisis. So yeah, but I still.
Oh yeah, and once again, I don't think that it would be a problem except for that group of people. I think that, and I personally feel like it's actually perfect to have in the universe because if everything's connected anyway, this could be just like a totally separate world. We don't know of a John Diggle Green Lantern, and it makes total sense for it to be in a different universe. Then so
But if
it
everyone's
works
like, "Oh,
completely for
this
me.
John Diggle, John Stewart, Green Lantern is amazing," oh, let's get another John Stewart and put him on the big screen.
Yeah,
Like it's just the to be honest with you, Greg, like you'll eventually find it because the Justice League animated show, but that's still a show that most people like anyone basically kind of in my generation, maybe a little bit younger than me, like 5 years younger, like their Green Lantern is John Stewart, not
yeah,
Hal Jordan.
right.
So it's like just where you are, where you're born. But like there's a big fan base for John Stewart, and he has not. I don't think he's ever been on live action. I'm pretty confident he hasn't. And there's a mystery
Not that I'm
role in
aware of.
Legends where I could see him totally being John's full blown John Stewart on a different Earth that they go visit or a different time period or I don't know what or they're going visit. Actually,
Uh-oh.
holy crap!
Uh-oh.
Light bolts just shot
I
off
saw that. Yeah.
because at the end of Legends, Sarah is abducted by what everyone's led to presume is aliens.
Okay. I
I
thought you were asking me. I
mean,
was like, I don't know.
no, but
Yeah.
but she's kidnapped. She's like sucked up.
Mhm.
Kind of similar to Dominators back in season 3 of Flash. Uh, kind of similar to that. She's sucked up. So I mean, who better to help you find your captain that's lost in space, but
Yeah. And the Lantern.
John Diggle slash John, like who's Green Lantern,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're looking for her in space, like it kind of seems like that's the way the show is set up this season. So they're going to be traveling through space, not time this season, through space. So, I mean, at a certain point, maybe you run into Green Lantern, and maybe it turns around and they're like John, and bam. So
Maybe. I like it.
don't
I would
know. I
watch
can't
that.
make myself get into
I would
because
watch that.
I full blown had myself convinced for Crisis on Infinite Earths that like Green Arrow and Flash are gonna go on their own little side mission before things went down. We get some sort of thing where he shot an arrow and Flash like infused it with lightning and it would take out all kinds of people. Like I started like as you could tell with the trailer, my mind started to be like, oh my god, what if this and what if
Yeah.
this? And that was a terrible decision. I'll never do that again.
I've learned to temper my expectations about a lot of things that I've loved because it's brought me a lot of disappointment.
I was like, if
You
I
know?
thought of that, I mean, they had to think of that and more. And especially there was the crossover, I want to say maybe 2 years earlier, where like the Atom was on uh, Mr. Terrific's T spheres
Hmm.
and didn't turn big. And I'm just like, you could do something so similar. Like, no, I ain't gonna get into it. But yeah, very excited about this and can't wait to see what they're gonna do, Greg. Really excited. Hope we get to see Green Lantern in DCCW.
I believe we will.
Shout out to Brent. He's been waiting for this since I've been listening to DC TV, since I've known him. He's wanted Green Lantern in DCCW. So
Oh yeah.
shout out to Brent if this actually happens. I know he kind of got the shaft with the case, opening up the case and just seeing the green glow. Because I think we were all fully convinced we were going to actually see him in suit, so or just put on the ring and shoot off or something. So
Yes. Yeah.
let's
It would have been cool. It would have been really cool. Well, see, I mean, at that point, I guess at that point we didn't know there was any future either. We thought that
Well,
you never know if you're going to see him again.
there's a
That may
couple
just be
things
like a
too I want to say before we move on.
yeah.
Ezra's Flash was put in there after, like in December. He was put into that crossover, right? Arrow was definitely planned out and decided before then. I'm pretty confident they knew that they were going to do that with John Diggle at the end. I'm fairly confident that,
Well,
like, I would bet money. I don't think they changed anything in a month because the last episode aired in January, so it
didn't you
finished.
say that they went in season 2 that they had the possibility? You said you know what
Well,
the
Berlanti
possibility
talked to
is?
him, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, yeah, but back then, Greg, you couldn't have Harley Quinn. You couldn't have the Suicide Squad in the Arrow episode because Suicide Squad movie was coming out. So
No,
that
I
was
know, but I
happening.
mean, the idea was there.
Yes, and
Like it
what I'm
was always an
saying,
idea.
you're
Yeah.
getting my point now. Is what I'm
Yeah.
saying is after Ezra showed up on
Hmm.
the flat, like showed up with the Flash and shattered everything.
Right.
I think that they were like, oh crap, I think now we can get Diggle actually as Green Lantern. Like I think that doesn't matter anymore. Like they
Yeah.
have plans for that show. I think we could do it. So I think that's maybe when things changed and they just started trying to think about doing this. So
Yeah.
I'm just super excited.
Fair point. All right, man. Yeah. What else? Anything else about that one?
No,
We went
that's
on a little
about it for
DCCW tangent there.
yeah.
What other news we got here? Let me scroll through the stuff. Oh, let's talk about these. Well, I guess do you want to talk about the big thing next? The biggest piece of news other than
No,
that
we'll
one?
hold that. We'll hold that, Greg. Come
Okay,
on, man. That's what everyone's come here for.
I hear you. Well, let's talk about this real quick, man. What do you think about these people with these Wonder Woman 84 reviews?
Ooh, no, very nice. I'm excited, Greg. To be honest with you, I'm just going to
Me
read a
too.
couple of them. Not too many, but Eric Davis was like, I'm so happy to report that Wonder Woman 84 is an absolute blast from start to finish. An exceptional compliment to the first film. It's stuffed with heart, hope, love, action, romance, and humor. Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot, and team delivered one of DC's best sequels. I was in tears when it ended.
Yeah.
I can't say much about the plot because spoilers, but it's super clever. The opening sequence alone is stunning, and every action scene is different and unique. I also think this is among Hans Zimmer's best scores, and for those wondering, the Godot Pine chemistry is once again fire. So basically, it's like just another great movie
Mhm.
continuing on this character's journey or story arc.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. We're so close too. I finally know when I'm going to get to see this. Like
Yeah,
for
we're not going to like read all of the read all of the like reviews
right.
because that's the same thing. But I don't think have you seen the 1 minute trailer, the new 1 minute teaser?
No, I haven't.
Why don't you share the screen and give it
You
a
could get it.
watch?
Okay. Hold on one second. Let me.
I think that'd be pretty cool. I've seen it. I don't want to see any more than that. It doesn't give anything extra away or anything like that, Greg, but it's kind of get you a little pumped for Wonder Woman. Like perfect thing to stick on like YouTube ads and TV ads and stuff to push people towards the streaming service.
Just looking for the new. No, I don't see a new one. All I see is
It's
one that
one
came out two
minute
weeks ago.
Wonder Woman teaser. 1 minute.
1 minute. Here's 2 minute from a week ago. I don't know.
Upload
Well,
date.
a day ago. Here you go. This is probably it.
One
Maybe.
minute.
Yeah, it's 1 minute. 1 second.
Yeah.
All right. Can I share it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's no different than a reaction video.
It's true. Let's see. Share screen.
You're not like we're not watching a show or anything, so you won't get or live music, so you won't get. And there's no live music in this either. So
All right. Can you see? I'm not even going to play
yeah,
audio. All right. Here we go.
shut the audio out, man. It's not gonna be. You're not gonna get. As long as you can hear the audio, that's all that matters to me. Get some excellent shots here. Like that could be pumped when she was running there. The music
Yeah.
goes with it. Oh, dude. I did see a complaint about the lasso being so wide. And I'm like, come on now. Like, we're getting to a point. And at some points, Wonder Woman can fly too. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested in how he comes back, Chris Pine.
I mean, I think we all kind of know the idea of it. It's just the actual like how of it.
Yeah.
Is going to be.
A couple of nice superhero shots there.
I do love this.
Riding on lightning.
Yeah, right on the lightning. Yeah. Oh man.
Get your
it's
palm,
gonna be
don't
so
it?
good.
Get your palm.
Yeah, it's gonna be
And
so good, man. I
they
can't
got
wait.
it. They had it up there to see. Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, but
I'm excited.
that's cool. So yeah, that's something to go along with the thing there. Just is nothing. Don't give away anything plot. Really, just basically talking about Wonder Woman, Diana, and all that they thought she was going to accomplish, or well, her mother anyway. And then just some action shots, some shots of Chris Pine, some shots of Cheetah, or well, Barbara Minerva. So
Now, are they? I'm sure they're bound to not be able to say anything until they got NDAs until after the movie release, right?
long after, a la like not allowed to talk about Snyder Cut.
Okay,
Oh yeah, they lock you in there. They're
that's interesting. I mean, I wonder why though. After the release date.
so you don't bash like if there's terrible on set and stuff like that, you won't bash it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes
We
sense.
get a little picture shared too of Maxwell Lord. I shared that with you in the DM chat there. It's pretty cool. He looks like such a suave businessman. I love Pedro Pascal. Like he's amazing in Mandalorian, even though we don't even get to see his face.
Let's
And
see.
I'm sure he's going to be wicked in this. Every time I see him, all I think about is Prince Oberyn in Game of Thrones. There could be a perfect character. Nathan, you know what I'm talking about. Most everybody knows what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, this is an interesting picture, man. I got to be honest. I don't know a lot about Maxwell Lord. I don't.
He's in first season of Supergirl. Essentially, another kind of like a Lex Luthor type in his intelligence, and that's what he uses. But he's a bit more conniving. And Wonder Woman, literally in the comics, straight up breaks his neck in kind of like a similar story that we're talking about there with Brother Eye. So, yeah,
should be interesting. This is the guy behind the Mando mask, right?
yep.
Interesting.
So
I've seen something else. All right.
we got a couple other things. There was a Linda Carter. It was reported Linda Carter to return as Wonder Woman in Flash film, and in AT&T literally commented, replied to the report and said "Holy Multiversity," the AT&T account, the official one, and had Wonder Woman Linda Carter's Wonder Woman spinning and transforming GIF. So they're stoking flames here. I really think like this is going to be this like Into the Spider-Verse style for the Flash. We're going to see so many different universes, and I would love to see Linda Carter as Wonder Woman again. That would be like she was the bomb. Like I remember watching that in the '90s, and it was a '70s show. Like the same thing with Batman '66, and there was a cover one time of I want to say maybe she was on it as well in a smile, but like Batman, the Flash, like John Wesley Shipp's Flash, Michael Keaton's Batman was on TV Guide cover. It was like mind blowing to me.
That's pretty crazy, man. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know to what capacity you could see it in. Like maybe a cameo. I don't know. Would you want to see her as a Wonder Woman in a you know multiple scenes or action scenes?
Oh yeah, I'd like to see her, but I don't think we get to see her
Okay.
that live. But I'd love to
Yeah,
see
I don't
her
think
as
you would
Wonder
either.
Woman. But
Okay.
I guess the last thing before we take our first break, Joe Manganiello shared a picture that
Awesome.
obviously has to be from the Snyder Cut. Zach probably sent that. It just looked amazing. I'm assuming it's just Nightmare World, Deathstroke. So I'm assuming a big thing, but you can see it kind of hanging in the background. Oh my god, I can't wait to see that. That costume is so fire.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. I'm trying. I'm
Every
trying to click on
costume
it so I can share it, but I
has
can't.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's so nice. Yeah. I guess we'll take a quick break and then talk about a couple other things before we get into our main topic. One thing before we get into our main topic.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right, listeners, we'll be back shortly. The magic of ads, like we didn't even disappear on YouTube. And we're back. Okay, Greg, just a quick little air cut thing before we get into the piece de resistance for the night. There's my 70 average high school French there for you. Nolan and David Ayer spoke about the air cut and said, my first act was normally constructed film. I took my inspiration from Nolan. There were real scenes with incredible acting between Jared and Margot. Joker was terrifying. Harley was complex. So he's just been saying a few things. Not much. It's been a little quiet. I think the momentum has really slowed for the air cut compared to like the constant of the Snyder cut, which sucks because he's gotten screwed over arguably worse than Zach because his movie was changed because of another filmmaker's movie, and not because like they seen a cut of his and was like, we can't have that. No. So yeah, it sucks. I just really hope that it gets announced at some point. And hey, if they burn ties with all the filmmakers, they might have to.
Yeah, very much so. It's funny you say that you feel like the momentum's died down for it because as a person who wasn't really excited for the haircut, not that I, disliked it or anything, it just didn't really, I was like, oh, if I get to see it, cool. But if not, doesn't really bother me. I've heard more about it over the last few months since this Snyder Cut stuff's come out than I have ever, really. To be truly honest with you, like
well, let's come to what have you started doing in the last few months that you haven't done before?
Well, I still follow it. Yeah,
but host a
true.
DC
Okay.
podcast,
Yeah,
and you kind of get bombarded weekly with air cut stuff from yours truly.
That's true. That's a good point.
But no, just well, you could be right too, Greg. You follow different people than I do, but I'm just saying, for myself, I've seen a ground like it's died down a little bit for me, but I still want to see the movie just as much as ever. But I don't know when we'll see it or if we'll ever see it.
Gotcha. My daughter is sending me screenshots of stuff on Amazon as a Christmas list right now. That's fun.
Wow, that's just tons of change. We used to get the wish book and circle things, and wow, I feel so old.
Yeah.
And I guess one other thing is Zack Snyder shared a picture. It seems like he's starting the sound editing, and like he has picture start there and said, "Let it begin." Zack Snyder's Justice League. So
yes. So I'm assuming that means that they're showing
moseying a line away. They're doing the music. They're doing the sound. Seems like the visuals probably may be done then. If that's the case, I could be wrong, but. So let's get to this last little thing here, Greg, that you told me about the Plastic Man.
You know what? I gotta find the article about that because
I have it, man.
Okay, yeah,
I have it here.
Good.
It's from Boris Kit, and he says Cat Kat Vasco hired to pen a new female-led take on Plastic Man.
Hmm. Does it bother you?
Bother me?
Yeah, because I know some people have a problem with a gender swap of a character.
No, if the story's good, I'm completely fine with it being a man or a woman or
Awesome.
non-binary or whatever.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's
just
the way I feel too. I haven't I've stayed away from any kind of comments about this because I know there's going to be people out there that have their takes on it. I don't. Once again, Plastic Man's not a guy I know a whole lot about. I've heard the character. I've seen him in different things, but I don't know a lot about the character. Matt Reeves is going to be involved with it though, which is going
no,
to be no.
no, no. You're getting two stories cut together. You're getting
Oh,
two
am I?
headlines cut together. Yeah,
Oh, my fault.
that's why you got to dig into the
That's why I was sitting
story.
there. I was like, wait a second, Matt Reeves. So, yeah.
No, Blacklist writer Kat Vasco has been hired to work on the feature centered
Okay.
on the hero, Plastic Man. The film has been in development for several years, and Vasco's hiring is meant to take the project in an entirely new direction. Sources, I gotta do it like that. Sources, roll my eyes as I hopefully they can hear me roll my eyes. Sources tell Heat Vision that the project, which is in the earliest stage of development, will now become a female leading vehicle. It is unclear how that impacts any eventual title. Okay, first of all, from now on, listeners, I promise you, we will, uh, unless it's like we're not going to do this anymore because the last slate that was announced like this, probably 4 movies actually happened,
Mhm.
and the rest got shelved, demolished, never happened. Like, I'm still waiting for my Nightwing movie, so
Mhm.
uh, I don't know if this will actually pan out. Like, this might be people getting mad for no reason, but uh, Plastic Man is big in the comics and in the Justice League, so I don't know. I'd be curious to see it. Like, even if it's female led, just tell me a good story and you got me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I'm asking for. And I'm wondering, do we have any idea of is this going to be its own separate universe? Is it going to be tied in with anything else on HBO Max?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they're even pointing that stuff out at this point in time,
Right
Greg. I
now, it's
think it's
just kind of
far too
a
early. I
thought.
think they're
Yeah,
just trying to
I
worry
got
about
you.
getting the story. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's really just you right. It could pan to absolutely nothing. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. All right, cool.
Okay, listeners. So, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of the best way to begin talking about this, but Warner Brothers basically dropped, or well, Warner Media basically dropped a bomb on 2021 film slate and
Hmm.
2021 in the way we watch films in general.
Hmm.
And they are going to debut their entire 2021 film slate, including Dune and The Matrix 4, both on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time. And this is like, holy crap, Greg. I mean, like, what did you think when you seen this? And just a side note right now, listeners, Dune's producer, Legendary Entertainment, are talking about suing Warner Brothers over this.
Hmm. That's interesting. I didn't hear about that. I'd like to look into that. What do I think about it? I think it's pretty awesome, to be truly honest with you, because
Yeah.
it's going to it's going to make me watch a lot more movies. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, because there's a lot of movies in the slate that I really, really want to go see in theaters that I may still go see in theaters should I have the opportunity. But there's a lot of movies on here that I probably wouldn't. And I think Nathan had this sentiment uh, on Friday when we were talking about Super Civil Servants. It's just like, a movie that I might have just waited 6 months until it was on TV or a year till it was on TV to watch. Now I have, HBO Max and I can watch it for free. Why not? It's pretty interesting.
I'm going to be honest with you, Greg. I've said this, you know my thoughts. I think maybe even our listeners know our thoughts because I've talked about this. I even talked about
Hmm.
this with Chris Belga when they talked about it with Wonder Woman. And I want to just first point out uh, Scott from DC Film Squadcast, Scott DC 27 said that I heard him say this. Maybe it was on a podcast with Ray. I'm not sure where exactly I heard him say it, but actually, no, it was on the because it was on the Film Junkie stream on Saturday night.
Hmm.
Scott said maybe, just maybe, the early numbers for Wonder Woman were so good they were like, holy crap, like they're going to do this with the rest of the stuff. So
Maybe.
never heard anybody say that, like that maybe the momentum after the Wonder Woman announcement the numbers were so good, they're just like, screw it. But I think this is eventually the way to the future. And especially in this pandemic, I don't know how you can force people to go to the theaters or tell people you can only go to the theaters to watch these movies. Um, and while there's a global pandemic going on, that seems like counterproductive. And that is more, I have a problem with Chris Nolan as well, because he's not happy with this, but in the same tone, he's
No, he's not.
like, go watch my movie Tenet in theaters. My movie Tenet blinds in theaters. My movie Tenet should be seen in theaters. And you're like, dude, what happens if, even if 20 people got COVID-19, or let's say 2,000 people got COVID-19 in the entire world from going to that going to watch those movies, that's where they got it. And let's say 20 people died. Is that worth that to you? Like, really, in reality, to make sure your movie goes to the film? I know that's how they were all brought up. I know that's how like they learn. But I say this with sending with newspapers. I'm sure newspapers were like, internet, internet. And what happened, Greg? I'd say there's probably a handful of newspapers left compared to what it was. And I think same thing here. Like I was telling you off screen, we have 2 movie theaters here.
Yeah.
That's it. One with six screens and one with 12. That's it.
Well, I mean, it's slightly, I guess, it's pretentious, the word I'm looking for, because it's like you're asking
Yes.
everybody else in the world to change because of COVID, except you.
And not
Like
your
like everybody
and not
everybody
your
else has got to
industry.
adjust what they're doing, but you don't want to. Like you're gonna throw a fit and be pissed off because you don't get what you want.
And it's not like
Like,
you're
it's
not getting
weird.
you're getting paid
Right.
millions of
Right.
dollars
Right. And
to
guess what?
make
People are still
movies.
going to see your
Yes.
film.
And
They're still going to see it.
you're acting like a little crybaby because your movie is not going to be seen on
Yeah.
like on a gigantic big screen TV. It's like, no, like you can have the same uh, immersive uh, like setup, and say you can have same immersive experience by yourself in your own like apartment. You can be totally dialed into the movie. There won't be, when you said, oh, there won't be 100 other people going, oh, but you can still have that immersive feeling. Like, it's not going to take anything away from the movie.
Right.
And that's what really drives me crazy.
Hmm.
It's like Christopher Nolan's there, like, oh, it's just such a, like, that's why I love Kevin Smith. That's why I love Kevin Smith. Like,
Hmm.
because he would just be like, I just want you to see a movie. Like,
Yeah. Just
I
have a
don't
good
think,
time.
just have a good time. Like,
Hmm.
and look at Zack Snyder, who's big on visuals, big on film, loves photography. Who are the two? What are the 2 projects? His 2 next projects. Where are they, Greg? Is
Uh,
it Army of the Dead? That might be on net. Little small outfit like Netflix.
mhm.
And where's Zack Snyder's Justice League going?
HBO Max, I believe.
Oh my, like,
Hmm.
it's almost like a filmmaker is adapting to the times and the industry changing, whereas
Yeah.
the other one, a la, let's say, your local newspaper shouting and screaming about the internet being bad and the internet ruining, and in reality, it's just technology. Like, things change. This was going to happen eventually because of streaming anyway. It's just
Hmm.
COVID has kind of gaslit everything and changed everyone's plans.
Yeah.
So they're still getting the movies. People, and this is what blows me away. America is absolutely crap with the coronavirus in terms of how you've taken care of it. Like, I don't think if any numbers you can see you're doing the worst.
I can't argue that point.
And here's an option for America only, is a streaming service. Like, I got to go to the theater, Nolan, to watch the movie. Thank you very much. Like, I don't get the streaming service.
Hmm.
So in one of the worst hit places with the pandemic, you're allowing them to stay home and watch a movie at their home instead of getting them to congregate in a movie theater. Just
Yeah.
think about that. And even with the vaccines, that's going to take pretty close to a full year until like everybody is vaccinated. You got to get the frontline workers and the like more vulnerable first before like someone like me gets vaccinated, or you.
Yeah. There's an app you can download, or like our website or something you can go to where you can check to see like what place you're in, like when they would estimate you would be available for the vaccination.
Yeah.
So It'll
But
be
like, it's not going to be, and then there's going to be some issues because, first of all, don't want to hear the anti-vaxxers like because I say there's going to be some issues. Don't take it. No, it's just like you. This is all on the fly. Like you might get a batch that didn't get stored at the proper temperature right at like quick enough. So
mhm.
you might have to throw away that batch and ask for another batch to get sent. So you're going to get some delays like that. I'm not talking about actual compromise because that's biology. You're not going to change that. Like that's
Mhm.
actual like it's not like engineering. So when you
We're
have
diving into
trouble,
politics.
no, I'm just saying what in terms of shipping out the virus for because people want to be safe, feel safe before they go back to the movies, and I don't think families are going to go back to the movies super quick, and that's what you're trying to get. You're not trying to get me or you. You're getting our money. We're finding a way to give you our money to what to consume this. So
Yeah. Well, okay. So two problems that I see with HBO Max that I think they absolutely have to fix, and then I want to go over these 6 questions I found on Rotten Tomatoes about this, and I know it's Rotten Tomatoes, but they're actually pretty good questions. So two problems I'm thinking. First, you just hitting on international. I feel like it's got to be on an international platform if they really want to compete with other streaming services. And I know the DC Universe app said they were going to go international, never did. And I don't know if that's because they knew this HBO Max was coming, but I feel like they've got to go international.
oh,
I don't understand why you wouldn't. I mean, I get it. I get it. And every time I say that, everybody's like, oh, what's contracts and people legal rights, this and that. And I get that. And I think I said this Friday, I just don't get why everybody involved wouldn't see joining into this or somehow getting in on this wouldn't be a good idea. Like wouldn't make more money for everybody, But I don't know how those things work either. So
hand up, hand up.
go ahead. Sorry.
Uh, oh no. Now I agree. Yes, but take Bell Media and Crave TV, their streaming service, Crave TV, for example, here in Canada.
Mhm.
The streaming service costs $11 to have monthly. The HBO content add-on is $25 a month.
Wow.
So that's where the bulk of their. I was going to cancel it a month ago, and
Mhm.
my girlfriend was like, "No, let's keep it." Like I love like the back catalog of like Big Little Lies and
Mhm.
all these Big Bang Theory, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So like big back catalog.
Mhm.
So if you're Bell Media and Crave TV, what do you get out of giving up a deal that you have that gives you HBO content till 2025,
Yeah.
exclusive rights to stream it in Canada?
Yeah.
Like, and if you give that up, if you let them buy out your contract, first person right here, cancel Crave tomorrow. Don't need it
Yeah.
if they don't have the HBO content. I'm
Mhm.
gone.
Yeah.
So how many people are like that where like I said, it's double the subscription price for the add-on of that. So
Mhm.
it would be foolish for them to do that, even though like I would get on my hands and knees and beg them to just give up the contract, but their streaming service is dead if that happens. So it's like these people, like I know a lot of people are saying like it's going to be international soon. It's not going to be as easy as you think
I guess.
because
Yes, sure.
it's just there's no incentive. Like the only way I can see it even working is giving Bell Media a percentage of HBO Max's like numbers in Canada. Give like that's the only way I can see it because their streaming service is toast. If that's the case, toast. Or the preferable thing, which I hope happens, is our laws change.
There you
Our
go.
content laws change, where you do not have if you buy something to play on cable, like to broadcast on cable, you don't automatically own exclusively the streaming rights. Like it doesn't work like that. So uh, super curious about all that. Clearly that's not a topic that we're going to be focusing on with a pandemic. Like I
Right.
don't expect our government to get in and like repeal that stuff right now. But this has been a problem for 4 years. Like you said about DC Universe, I can't how many times I pulled my hair out or listen to a podcast, whether it be DC TV, Fans Without Borders, DC On Screen, making fun of Travis not having DC Universe when all I wanted to do was give DC Universe my money and they wouldn't take it. So that's the biggest problem, like you said, with HBO Max is not international, Greg. It needs to be, but I don't see the hubbub with uh, people complaining about it. Like with the pandemic in America, where this is only America only streaming service. So essentially, Americans are getting to watch movies at their home for 30 days.
I got you.
I mean,
Hey, real quick,
America.
want to say hey to Clay in the chat and Mr. Snell's in the chat as well. Travis has a question. He wants to know how I feel about the directors, actors, and companies not being told about the HBO Max 2021 shift. Some, right? Well, my question is, the actors go into a movie and the directors as well. You generally where you're getting paid this much money for this movie, right? No matter what this movie makes, you're getting paid this much money. There may be some adjustments like a signing bonus for a athlete, where if it makes this much, you get a bonus type deal. But generally, they're getting paid the same thing, even if it's on the streaming service, because it's also going to theaters. So I don't feel bad for them at all, because how many movies have you seen for the first time not in a theater? Like major blockbuster movies. I know I've seen a ton.
Not a lot.
Major blockbuster movies for the first time, not in theater. Still loved it. Paid for, the however I end up viewing it. Like, they're gonna get their money. I just don't understand. I think like you said, it's this old school type deal, thinking type deal of wanting to see it on the big screen. I don't feel sorry for them, man. You're not losing anything, and it's probably safer for you.
Greg,
You know,
I think like there may be some contracts like with Jack or like Alec McGuinness from Star Trek, where they give
Mhm.
him a percentage of the box office.
Mhm.
Now, those kind of contracts would have to be restructured, but I'm in full agreement with you with directors and actors. You're not hired to make a movie. Uh, like you're hired to make a movie. That's it.
Mhm.
You're not hired to market a movie. You're not hired to make sure a movie goes here, 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 here.
Mhm.
No, you may be told, but in a global pandemic, I don't think that when if you got paid to do a role and then they're deciding to take that and put it out there.
Yeah.
Like maybe you might complain if you got a percentage of the box office, yes, but I'm sure you have to uh, amend contracts or like change contracts if that's the case. So I think you would be compensated anyway.
And even so, say you do have to take a percentage, or like you are going to lose a percentage of what you would have in theaters. Like, I don't know the numbers, I don't know how it works. Say you would lose a little money. So once again, same thing with what we were talking about earlier. Everybody else in this pandemic has to suffer, but you don't. Like seriously, that's kind of the way I feel. Like,
And to think about
everybody
it,
else is making sacrifices, and everybody else is like, but you don't. Like, you're
let's
still
point it
making a
out. Let's
ton
point it
of
out now.
money.
Let's point it out
You
now.
know?
Let's point it out that in this global pandemic, Nolan is suffering because the movies aren't going to be on the big screen.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that.
Yeah.
And I don't believe. First of all, I don't believe that WB Warner is going to like this is only a 2021 thing. They're just saying that right now. Like you can't. I've heard people say you can't
I
say
think it
like
depends on the turnout with
well you
everything,
can't
with
say
directors,
you can't
actors, the public, everything.
you
So
can't say Greg your subscription is worth uh $15 and getting these exclusive rates now, and then next year it's worth $15 and you don't get these exclusive rates for 30 days. I find it hard. It may be tough, but
it's
now
true.
I don't know. It's, like I said, they can say global pandemic too, right? They don't want to give up the movie uh, experience, but like I said, it's going to be tougher for people, but not like you're going to have 4 movie theaters in your area instead of 15. That's what's going to happen. That's
Mhm.
just the reality, and
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
what I think of it. But I also think it was greasy not to tell the companies, the directors and actors. I could give a crap. Like you got paid, you did the movies. Like people are going to see it ultimately.
Right.
Like
Hmm.
being a director doesn't mean you're doing something and it gotta be on the big screen. What about the people with TV? I mean, are they insignificant? I consider it all the same. You know, there's different tiers of directors, but I just don't. It's just something to complain about that really blows my mind. Now, like I said, the companies like the Legendary and those companies that are partners with
Hmm.
Warner, that was greasy. You don't do that because they're your financiers, they're your producers.
Okay.
I fully don't think I'm not in agreement with that. But to see stuff like uh, Margot Robbie, uh, somebody else, and Keanu Reeves weren't happy that they weren't treated like Gal Gadot. Like, give me a break. You're just trying to be like hot take, rumor garbage to try to get people and maybe one of those three felt like that, but I never will think, no one can convince me unless Keanu Reeves actually comes out and says it. No one can convince me that a 50-something-year-old Keanu Reeves cares about how Warner Media treats him compared that doesn't treat him as good as they treat Gal. Not saying they treat him bad, but just
Right.
don't treat him like they treat Gal Gadot. Do you
Yeah.
think that somebody that's been in the Matrix, been in Speed, been in like everything, Constantine, he's been in everything, Bill and Ted, like he this Matrix 4 isn't going to make him any more famous. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like I don't see what, and that was in the article that like his agent was complaining. I'm like, yeah, his agent may be complaining, but I promise you, Keanu Reeves can care less.
Dude, he does movies like Thumbsucker and Knock Knock.
He, he
He's
just
doing
loves
okay.
movies,
Yeah,
and maybe
exactly.
he loves
Exactly.
how they like, and he'd rather see him in the film, like in the big screen. Yes,
Hmm.
and you can have a preference,
I
but
don't think Thumbsucker was ever on the big screen, to be truly honest with you.
yeah, I think
Not
you're right
sure if it
actually.
was. But anyway, um,
I mean, it
I
just
th-
seems like it's more like it seems like it's complaining for the sake of complaining or
right.
getting like contrary. Now, like I said, the partners, the producers, I feel for them, but directors, I don't feel as for somebody like Chris Nolan who's telling me go to the theater, you got to watch my movie in theater. I'm like, Chris, there's like we had 45 COVID cases yesterday. We only have 100,000 people. Maybe I shouldn't go to the theater. You know,
Yeah, it just doesn't seem right. But there you go, Mr. Snail. Hope that kind of
I've seen his movie too. I went to his
yeah.
movie, and I thought the theaters took the proper precautions, but Greg, there was like me and 700 people in there. Like the Warner's lost a hell of a lot just for that, and the theater lost a hell of a lot just for putting that off because the employees they had to have there. Like it's just, and I'm gonna be honest with you, there was barely anybody who had food because of the pandemic. You're very hesitant to go out and get that kind of stuff. So
Right.
it was basically like a bunch of people drinking some bottles of water that they brought in with themselves and watching the movie. So,
All right.
and of 7 people. So I don't think that's numbers that's like feasible. And having your movies on the shelf for a full year, that doesn't seem feasible to me either.
No. No. I mean, you've seen how it worked with Wonder Woman. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
But like that 1 minute teaser, I seen your face. You were like,
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I'd watch that right now if I
It
could. I'd
was
watch that right now.
yeah. It was like I was really really happy about seeing that. It's gonna be really awesome, and I'm so excited because it's so close. Like I said, I finally know when I'm going to see it. Um, my other problem that I think that HBO Max needs to work on, and I know I discussed with you, and I know once again this is a problem. You're just like,
You're not
well,
wrong. I
they
know
need to
they're
be
gonna
on
say it.
Roku.
Yes, but
They
it's
need to be
also
on
Roku
Roku
too,
because
Greg.
Roku, I think I looked at the stats. Roku is like three-quarters of like most smart televisions run through some kind of Roku service. And you're not going to be available on that. And that's going to be a big deal because I've got HBO Max right now and I watched The Flight Attendant the other day on it and streamed it to my TV. And it just, it had a little bit of lag in it. Sometimes the sound didn't quite line up right. And I get, you can get that if you're streaming it as well, but I'm sure that it was because I was, doing the screen share with my phone. But once again, like you said, I can just go get my PlayStation and
Brent, literally,
put
I'm
it in
just
my
shouting you out,
room.
Brent,
Yeah. Put it in
because
my
you
room
said
and
this
just
on
watch TV.
Fans Sunday. You can use you. Brent said it for the app. Like Brent literally used exactly what you said here
Uh-huh.
against Roku, saying, "I can stream HBO Max on my PlayStation 4. Roku needs to get their crap together." And you're using the exact opposite way.
I
I can't you get it on Roku,
You
so
know what though?
HBO Max needs to get their crap together.
Maybe I have a 13 and a 10-year-old kid. If I want to, if I want to be able to watch this like in the living room where the PlayStation is, but I also like to be able to watch it in my bedroom where I don't have the PlayStation. And I don't want to have to feel like moving the PlayStation to whatever TV I want to watch it on. And I get that you're saying, oh, whatever, but seriously, like like that is an inconvenience. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm gonna stop because I just sound spoiled right now. So anyway, yeah, I'll
Oh,
just move the
oh,
PlayStation. I just think, but you
Greg.
agree with me, they need to get it fixed. So
Yes, yes,
it's not
but
an
I
unfair
don't.
complaint.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're
So
right, but I just
it
like
just sounds funny hearing me
HBO
complain about
Max.
moving the PlayStation.
This was tweeted out 10. This was tweeted out 10 hours ago from Apptopia. HBO Max is now the fastest growing major streaming video service in the United States since its launch. It's grown at daily active users 242%.
That
So
is a super skewed stat, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course it's grown. I mean, it's grown. I guess it's showing how much it's grown, but I guess why would you compare it to everything else? Because everything else has been around so much longer with established clientele. Of course, they're not going to have as big of growth in that amount of time. It looked like to me, it looked like they were showing off like how big they've grown compared to everybody else. Why else would you put the stats for every streaming service on there?
Well, it shows that you're growing in America. Like there's these, like you're taking some from some of these. Like, would you rather Stars in America or HBO Max? Rather CBS or HBO Max? I think this just shows that like obviously is skewed because it's like this is the newest streaming service.
That's what
So
I'm saying.
yes,
It's not a
no,
matter of
but
would you rather have this than that. It's you already have so
no,
many,
but
you
it's
know.
showing that it's growing. That's
Oh
all. Like
yeah, oh yeah.
it's obviously it's going to grow. It's going to grow more than these other ones that have already been established. That's not. I'm
W-
just saying
w-
that the actual growth. I'm not compare. I didn't mean like the comparison to the other ones is not what I what I care about. I care about the growth from start to now.
mhm.
And people got to realize like when they're comparing them, you can't compare HBO Max to Disney Plus unless you're comparing just the American numbers. That's all you can compare right now
Yeah.
because they don't have international. So you can't say Disney Plus has 70 million subscribers or 50, whatever, and HBO Max only has 5, and then you're like, or only has 15, and then you're like, well, one's international and one's US only. So,
My point is, I think this is put out there the way they portray it with the
oh, that's
picture.
totally, oh,
It's
Greg,
made to
you're
look
right.
like well, look how much better HBO Max is than
No,
all of these, but that's not the stat that it's showing. So my point is,
no.
they could have put the same message out there without listing Crunchyroll and
Well,
CBS
they
and
did.
Stars and
They
Disney Plus.
did.
You know,
They did in the if they wouldn't have shown the graphic, I don't think anyone would have gotten like in a hubbub. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's what I that's not like the only thing I cared about was the it's grown daily active users 242%. That's all I care about. That's the only number that I was
yeah,
concerned with. That's all.
yeah.
Because like you said, and the listeners, that goes back to like you got to click on the like more details here and go into that to know to this like Greg said, this picture that's just a grab your attention right away. But the positive thing here is the growth of HBO Max since it's launched. But you can say that, but they don't have the how many. I think it's like over 10 million. I say maybe 15 million. Like people that haven't like that can use the service but haven't like started it
Right.
or switched over. So they've had a bad way with marketing for this app. Uh, like a bad way.
Yeah.
So
It's funny because most people that I talk to like don't know anything. I didn't know anything about HBO Max until like a week or two ago.
yeah, well, the Wonder Woman news and now this
Hmm.
news,
Yeah.
it
Most
should be
people
the
they were
most.
just like,
It should
what is HBO Max? And
if
yeah.
HBO. I'd be shocked if HBO Max isn't like the most popular streaming service on social media the last couple of days
Oh yeah,
in terms of
easily.
talking about and mentions and all that. So all that's growth and that, and maybe like you said, but like with the movies, maybe that might not go over too well. What
We'll
they're
have to wait and
doing,
see. Yeah.
but it's
It's worth
helped
a
out their
shot.
streaming service.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey man, like I said, I have 6 questions I want to ask you. We'll just get the answers for them quick. Before we do that, let's take the last break. That way we
Yeah,
can
let's
knock out these
rapid
six
fire.
questions. We got a show question, and then we can do the would you rather's and good
Get
to
out of
go.
here.
So let's go ahead and take that last break, folks. And just like always, we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So I saw these 6 questions, man. Since we're sitting here talking about the HBO Max thing, these are some pretty simple. Just tell me what you think. Will other studios follow in the footsteps?
Yes.
Regardless, you don't think studios will wait until like the end of next year to see the success? You think like
Okay, no, I think you have foul step, but I don't know. I don't think they'll drop their full slate or announce it like
okay,
that. I think they'll play it more. Like I honestly think Disney. Well, Disney's in a better place too, right? They're more established, Disney Plus. So I don't feel it like. I feel like they should put out Black Widow soon. I know I might have said weeks to a certain person that was a shithead to me for 10 minutes, and then I retracted the weeks and said months.
mhm.
Belga. Uh, but I think eventually we'll see it. It all depends on how popular this is. But if like the early numbers, I mean, in the early word of mouth, it's pretty popular from everybody that not a director or agent or producer partner. But for
All
the
right.
fans, yeah.
All right. Second question here. This is funny, and we actually have already talked about this, but it's just I'll just read it out because there's a funny line. Will there be pushback from filmmakers? I think we all agree, yes, there is. And the
Wah,
opening line of the second
wah.
paragraph is one cannot imagine Christopher Nolan is on board with Warner Brothers distribution model.
Yeah. Well,
Like, yeah,
Chris, keep telling me go to movie theaters and in during pandemic, and I'm not gonna lose, not gonna. Same with Patty Jenkins saying like my movie's got to be there, but look, at least she acquiesced to the situation eventually. But
yeah,
like I said, I just think that's a pretty tone deaf message to be sending people right now.
yeah. All right. Can theaters offer new incentives to get people in the door?
No, just
You,
experience. You might be able to do what you said with the big giant chairs, but then that's more of a you're getting more of like a going to the opera feel than you are
right.
going like you know what I mean. This is more of a special event, and that's what I think movies are going to be more than anything special event. Yeah, maybe they'll build back up to a point where we have more theaters again, but I think we're going to bottom out before we start to add a few more again.
I think that there's going to be a large influx in people going to the movie theaters, whichever ones survive after this pandemic thing is, I guess, closer to being over or officially over, or if we can see an end point. I think once those things change back to what we would call normal, if they ever do, I think there's going to be huge influx in that kind of stuff, vacations and amusement parks and everything. Buy stock in that kind of stuff because
Oh yeah,
it's
but
gonna blow
the
up.
other thing with the movies too, Greg, is you'll get a bottom out while this is the bottoming out during
Hmm.
this pandemic, and then you'll get it go back up a little bit, but we won't reach the level we were at pre-COVID because of the advancements for the streaming services.
Right, right.
So it's going to get to a point, like I said, with the newspapers. I hate to beat a dead horse, but there are still newspapers out. They still come out, but there is a different the pecking order changed, and when it changed it never went back because very often when you have like big fundamental change in the industry, very very often it never goes back to that way the previous way ever again.
And that's actually the last question is could Warner Brothers reverse course? And I think we even thought this a
They
little bit earlier
could
too.
they can they there's like nobody there's no law that says that they have to, well, maybe false advertising you might be able to,
I think
but
it more means could like
like you mean like after this
will
year.
they? Yeah.
Like they, oh, well, they could, like I said, if movie theaters bounce back, which I don't think they will, like the way they could make money. But like I said, I think that times are changing. You're going to get an ad or two at the start of some movies on streaming services, maybe, and like I said, it's just the paradigm's going to shift, and COVID just made it happen a little bit quicker. So I don't
Yeah.
think that movie theaters going to be doing anything, but I bet it's just going to be if you want to see the movie in theaters, you're either going to have to buy your tickets early or you're going to have to wait a few days to a week. There'll still be movie theaters. You just might not be able to watch the movie opening night or opening weekend if you don't
Imagine what it's going to
prepare.
change for opening night of like big blockbuster movies if they ever get back to that point again. Like in-game type level movies. It'd be
Yeah,
crazy.
see, but I don't even know, Greg, with the whole, it all depends on what the rest of these companies do. It's so interesting to me. I can't wait.
Oh. All right. That's about all I got for the Warner Brothers deal. We kind of, we talked about it on Super Civil Servants, and me and you put pretty good little bit into it here. Once again, I'm excited for it. I have my complaints about, the ins and the outs of it. Hopefully they'll get some bugs worked out and they'll get it to more to my liking. But even if they don't, it's great that I have the ability to watch the service. And, I'm excited that I get to see Wonder Woman, and I know the date and I know the time, and it's
Listeners,
going
I
to be
just
fun.
want to point out that this is the inconvenience we both face for having to watch Wonder Woman.
What do you mean?
Me,
Oh,
this is the inconvenience we have to face for both having to watch Wonder Woman.
mhm.
Me, I have to travel to see my parents. My younger brother isn't going to be home for Christmas because of COVID and quarantine. He's not going to be able to get home. So he's stuck in another province 5,000 miles away.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go home. And then Boxing Day, I'm going to have to drive 3 hours to go to a theater to watch Wonder Woman 84 and then drive
Boxing Day. What
and
the
then
hell
drive
is that? Is this kind of Canadian slang for Christmas?
26. It's called Boxing Day. It's basically
Hmm.
your excuse to get on a big drunk. And anyway,
Okay, sorry.
my dialect started to come out that time when I started to talk about that. So let's quell that. You got me all. Oh, Greg, you completely mixed up my rhythm there. But yeah,
Sorry.
I got to drive 3 hours in, watch the theater, potentially record with you, and then drive 3 hours out. That's my inconvenience to watching the movie. My co-host's inconvenience to watching the movie is I have to hold in on the middle button in the PlayStation and turn off PlayStation, unplug the power, unplug the HDMI, pick up the PlayStation, walk to his bedroom, lay PlayStation down, plug PlayStation in, plug HDMI in, lie on bed, turn on PlayStation with your controller, so you don't have to bend down and turn it on or anything like that. You can lie back and turn it on with your controller.
That's a lot to
And
do on my
then
day off, man.
watch that.
Just saying.
While you're doing that, I'll be in hour 2 of 6 driving. So this is why. Cry me a river.
I hear you. Well, the only difference is, and I know once again this that's what you would have had to do anyway, right? If it was going to come out Christmas Day only in theaters, you would have had to have done that anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess for me it's great that I wouldn't have to do that, but I'm still going to go.
Well, if it wasn't Christmas, I would only have to go 5 minutes to the theater, like 2 minutes. Whereas Christmas, I'm out visiting my family 3 hours away in the river Styx, where you got to drive an hour.
There you go. So not
your
all the inconveniences.
Hour each way is no service. So if you go off the road, good luck.
Yeah.
Better hope somebody comes along. There's literally an hour to end of the drive where there's no cell service.
No, don't like that. That's why I was going to the mountain, driving through a cloud. It felt like going to the mountain on the way back from my honeymoon anniversary. Don't like that. I don't like driving like that.
No.
Anyway, that's all about HBO Max. We got a show question tonight from our patron. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. Carl sent us a show question. He says, "Hey, I hope you guys are well." He said, "I just finished listening to the Sandman audiobook, and I've also listened to the Wolverine series and have a few questions for you. One, have you listened to any of those audiobooks? And if so, what did you think? And two, if you had the choice of story you would like recreated or even the story told or even a new story told in this medium. Many thanks, Carl."
Thanks for the question, Carl. You're the man.
Thank you very much.
Keep them coming anytime something pops in your head. Love that Gotham question too, by the way. Just got to say it one more time because it was, and I'll jump on this first, Greg, because I'm not an audiobook guy. I tried to do the 2 free audiobooks and it just wouldn't work for me. So I got fed up and it was like, no, if you're not going to let me do it, I'm, screw that. No.
Yeah.
So I didn't, but I know that you read the Sandman book. So I'm going to let you talk about that. But I do have an idea for an audiobook that I would be super interested in that kind of correlates to some news I saw today or yesterday. Sorry.
Okay, so, you want me to
go? No, you talk about Sandman.
Oh, okay, yeah, awesome. Yeah, so definitely Sandman. The Neil Gaiman, the first Sandman, the first audiobook that I listened to ever. I know Chris and Nathan were talking about it, and they were talking about how great it was. And Nathan had been telling me that I needed to get into audiobooks for so long, and I listen to this podcast all day long on my route, on days that I have my route, and I told Nathan, I was like, all right, let me check out Audible, because he told me it's a free trial for the first month, I think, and you get 2 free books. So I was like, okay, I'll get this Sandman book. Now, the difference is the Sandman book is an audio drama. It's not an audio book. So like the other audiobooks I've listened to are like the Thrawn series books and Star Wars from Timothy Zahn. And that's just one guy reading and doing every voice. Whereas the Sandman is an audio drama. There's different voices for each character, like a different actor playing each voice, which is really cool. And it was done so well. Like I said, this was the first one I read, or not read, the first one I listened to, and it got me hooked. And
Force a habit when it's booked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I'm on my 5th one now, and I'm still, listening to all the podcasts and everything, or as many as I can. But I've always squeezed in a day or 2 a week to just listen to nothing but audiobooks. And I really enjoyed Sandman. I highly recommend it to anybody who's hasn't checked it out or is interested in getting into audiobooks, because it's a new thing for me. I didn't cancel my subscription, because if you stay part of Audible, it's like think it's like $13.99 a month, $14.99 a month, but you get 2 free books a month, basically.
So you can
So
read what you want, essentially.
exactly. And the books are, if you bought them just regularly, it'd be like $25,
Oh my
$25.
god.
So you're getting 2 free ones for $14.99. You might as well, if you like audiobooks. But I'm kind of doing a plug here for Audible. Sorry.
No,
Anyway,
don't say sorry, dude. That sounds pretty pretty
yeah,
good,
it's
actually.
pretty awesome, man. But
Do
yeah,
you
as
have
far
any,
as
do you have
okay,
any ideas for what you would like to see in an audiobook?
I do. Listening to the Thrawn series that I have that I've been listening to, I would like to see something done in that kind of style where I guess it's not really an audio drama with Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles. Like I want to hear an audio book of some kind of story of that. I don't really care
Ooh.
particularly what story. I just because the audiobooks, I kind of I don't know when I read, I can't dive into a story as well as I can listening to it. I mean, unless it's a comic book. That's why I usually don't read things unless they have pictures. But for some reason, listening to audiobooks, I can really visualize everything and really enjoy like getting into detail on what they're talking about. So those are some, groups of characters that I love. So I'd love to see or I'm sure there probably are audiobooks out there of them, but I just haven't looked it up yet. So, but a story to be told in this medium. Ooh, give me, uh, give me Identity Crisis in this medium because
Nice.
it's a mystery. For somebody who hasn't read the book or doesn't know the ending of it, you're kind of you can kind of tag along and you're trying to figure out what's going on or who it's a who done it. So yeah, that would be a really good one to listen to audiobook.
Uh, my idea would be if we're not getting a JL2, have an audio book version, have a book
Mm.
version of it, and in the audio book, all the actors come back to reprise their role for their voices.
Ooh, that would be really interesting.
And
Because
that goes with Scott Snyder saying that he was approached to do a comic book, like just diving into some of the backstory and some of the like world of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I could get
So,
into that. It's like I
oh
said,
yeah,
I've gotten really into audiobooks lately, and I think that I think that I can enjoy a lot of different stuff. Right now, I'm hooked on Star Wars. This Thrawn series is really, really. I read Thrawn Alliances and Treason. Right now, I'm working on Thrawn Ascendancy, the first book, and then new ones don't come out until next year, I think. And then I'm going to read Heir to the Empire, and then after that, I'm going to try to find something other than Star Wars to read because I've been hooked on Star Wars for a couple months now. But yeah, good question, Carl. I really appreciate it, man. And it's been so long since I listened to the Audio Man, the Sandman audiobook. I think I might actually do it again because I know I really enjoyed it and I remember certain things about it, but I can't remember all the specifics about it. And I think it's only like 18 hours of listening.
oh nice.
So it's not too much. Like I'm on my route for 6 hours a day. So I listen to that for 3 days on my route and I've listened to the whole book. So it's not too bad. But I think I might listen to that again because I own it. So I might as well check it out again. But I appreciate the question, man. As always, keep them coming. What we got left, man? We got the would you
Would you rather?
rather's. That's right. Would you rather's. I scared myself. I looked down the sheet. I was like, would you rather's. All right. So I need to look those up right now. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
Um, dang it. Why?
Oh my, Ricky,
Notification.
I have them.
You have them? Okay. My dog is going crazy. Can you hear him?
What do you want me to tell you? No, or do you want me to tell you the truth?
That's okay. Anyway,
Special appearance.
do you want to do yours? I got mine pulled up.
Let's do yours first.
Okay.
That's my
Mine was the
computer
second one this
stopped.
week, and it was you're right. It was very similar to the Desert Island question I asked. And it was like, if you had to give up one of these forever, would you rather give up DC Comics, DC Movie, DC Television? DC Television won 65%, DC Movies 20, DC Comics 15. Which did you vote for in this one?
I voted for DC television just because there is more of it, so much more of it.
That's the one you'd rather give up?
Yeah. No, not sorry. That's one I'd rather give up. But yeah, that's why I didn't say it because there's more of it. Because I think that there's more to the DC movies
Mhm.
and the comics. The comics are everything. So
Right.
I'm going to say yes to the comics, yes to the movies, and cry because I'm giving up Arrow.
Right. And that's kind of the same position I was in with it too. I did DC Television because once again, I don't want to give it the comics because it's the source material. It's the comics, so you get way more stories there than you're ever going to get in the movies or television. The movies, I love the movies. The television, you got me because it does have so much different stuff. Because I think immediately when I think about DC television, the first thing my mind and probably a lot of people's minds goes to is Flash, Arrow, DCCW universe. But then there's so much more with Doom Patrol and Young Justice and Titans and all this DC stuff that's out there. It makes it really hard to say you'd want to give up DC TV. The only thing that made me decide movies over TV was because I think about if I sit down and I have nothing to do and I'll put something on,
5.5 hours.
I'm gonna put a DC movie on before I put a DC television show.
You're not going to do that back-to-back 5.5 hour power watch of our two favorite movies. That would be, I would never want to give that up.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't want to give that up.
Yeah, that's what I was like, I never give up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I would rather sit down and watch the movies than I would the television shows.
And the listeners agree with us. So
yes,
for mine, it was: who would you rather train under just for 5 years to start your superhero career? Batman, Green Arrow, Ozymandias, and Deathstroke. Green Arrow had 31%, Ozymandias had 6.9%, Deathstroke had 17.2%, and Batman had 44.8%. Not surprising that Batman won. I was going to take him out, but I couldn't really. I was going to play Wildcat in there, but Batman has trained so many wards that I almost had to have him in there. I picked Green Arrow actually, just because that would be much more fun.
Not you.
No, like I'm not talking about Arrow. I'm not Arrow. No, but I wouldn't pick Oliver Queen's Arrow because he's a bit of a jackass, kind of like very Batman-ish. So why wouldn't I just train for Batman? I want the Green Arrow from the comics that makes jokes all the time and is very lighthearted and doesn't take things too serious all the time. That's the one that I want to train under. I also would say Deathstroke, but shout out to whoever voted Ozymandias too. I think he might have gotten 2 votes. So didn't expect that.
I did not vote Ozymandias, but I think that he might be the most fun to train under.
I think Green Arrow would be the most fun. I think you probably learn the most from Ozymandias, maybe.
I think what you said, I think it depends on which Green Arrow you're getting.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one, I answered Batman, obviously, because that'd be Batman. It'd be the one that I would even go to no matter what I debated in my head. But I could think about other things I'd want to do with other people. I think you're right. I think I didn't think about it until you just brought it up about how fun it would be to train with like a lighthearted, fun Green Arrow. It probably wouldn't be very fun to train with Batman.
Oh God, no! I mean,
I just thought about that. I was like, it probably wouldn't be very fun. Like you'd be awesome, and it'd be very beneficial, and it'd probably be the best training you could get. But
it's only Tim that isn't messed up, in my opinion, compared to the rest of them. So, although Nightwing comes out of it, like Dick Grayson comes out of it into Nightwing, but still, I probably would go with someone that wouldn't give me as much trauma, but you wouldn't be as good. The person that's trained with Batman would probably take you down. So, I guess, pick there. But those are pretty interesting, Greg.
Infinity Saiyan says hello. Saiyan, Saiyan. Sorry, I don't. Saying 71. Hello.
Shout out Dragon Ball Z, Greg.
Okay. So I don't do that.
You do know that Nathan disowned you when you just said that. Like he's listening to this podcast.
I know.
Because he's not watching live. So Nathan, I know the exact feeling you had.
Look,
I kind of had a little bit of it when he said
I've got to start getting into anime because my daughters are both heavily getting into anime. So I need to start getting into it so that way I can watch it with them. So apparently there's just like My Hero Academia thing they're watching.
Stuff that's on Netflix. I've never seen that, but
my daughters love it. So I know I've looked up enough Himiko Toga stuff for Christmas.
That was Greg. That was a staple for my childhood in the 10, 11, 12 p.m. on Friday night.
Really?
You get your anime then.
I'm sure that I would like it.
It was it started off with Dragon Ball Z, which basically was the bridge. It was basically the most mainstream anime, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one that more general audiences liked or knew about.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of,
yeah.
But shout out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm sure that I would like it. I just have never given it a chance. Once again, my daughters are getting older and really getting into anime, so I'm going to be getting into it soon. I know Nathan will want to talk about it some. Anybody else who wants to hit me up. But dude, I think that's it, man.
Yeah,
we have checked everything off the list.
Yep.
Good deal.
Data
You ready to get out of here, brother?
these? Yes, I am, my friend.
All right. Where can they find you at, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about DC anytime. Also host superhero discussions with Greg on Fridays. That comes out. We're right smack dab in the middle of Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah. That's going to be good.
Yep. We're going to try and get that out. Maybe hopefully record it sometime sooner than later with Mr. Hines having finals on Thursday. But we'll figure something out about that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. That and Super Civil Servants on Friday night when I do manage to make that, which isn't every week, but most of them.
It's all right. You're an OG there. Don't matter, you know. So
time zone kills me sometimes.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, you can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. That is my only form of social media. Check me out there. I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything. Just be willing to be told you're wrong sometimes, even though I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong, but I'll debate things. I just don't like to get rude about things, but I'll debate things with you. And check me out on there's all the shows Travis said. You can also find me Sunday afternoons after Panthers games and the C3 Panthers podcast live on YouTube, and then Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same C3 Panthers podcast doing our Tuesday evening show. I'm trying to think anything else. No, that's all I'm on right now.
So. Listeners, please send GIFs of Ray Skywalker to WibblyBoots85. Just send them in DMs or even in tweets, but DMs will be nice. Send at least one message, a GIF of Ray Skywalker.
Yeah, you could send a GIF if you want to, also, because that's the way it's pronounced. But do you ever have that argument with anybody if it's GIF or GIF? Do you really say?
Oh,
GIF?
I don't care. I just just a GIF, whatever.
I was just messing with you. All right, folks. So that's it for tonight.
There's no rhyme or reason in here, Greg. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just whatever comes up.
Exactly. Well, all right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get out, folks. Thank you so much once again, and until next week, keep pounding.
Later, guys.